Hello and welcome to another Maya tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at some basic modelling for computer games. And what we're going to build today is this archway. Apologies for this poor quality image, I haven't built it yet. I'm just going to be following a tutorial from the Maya for Games, Modelling and Texturing Techniques with Maya and Mudbox. This is available for £26.99, and or if you want to get that's a bit silly, you can get a new one for £19.50 or a used one for more. Yeah, that makes no sense, but yeah, I am going to be using some of the materials and resources from this because it does come with a nice DVD right there, so unfortunately I cannot distribute them to everyone else just in case of trouble, etc. So if you are new to using Maya, the first thing you always have to do is set up your project file. How do you do this, you may ask? Very simple. You just go over to File, and over here you have the option to set your project file when you have one, but we haven't got one for this just yet, or you can go to Project Window. And in Project Window we've got all our scenes, assets, images. These are just default, so this is purely for default. You can easily change these if you don't want them, but I like to leave them as they are. So I'm going to click on New. I've got a new project, and I'm going to call this one Stone Archway. There we go. So I'm going to click on Accept, and that should nicely build up my folders. So I'm just going to have a look at my folders here. Here's my project folder, and we can see right here Stone Archway. Now with the book you do get some images which I am going to pinch, which is in chapter 2, Stone Archway here. Now some people could say that you could just copy these, but as the book so says, you're not giving everything on a silver platter. So textures. No, not this folder. Where have they put these? They put them in images. Not here either. Okay, source images. There we are. So we've got these different images. Let's take a quick look if we can. Okay, we've got check and map detail. Here we go. We've got the textures and we've got all this. So I'm going to go to small icons and I'm going to pinch all these. So very quickly copy them over. Copy and just pop them in my Stone Archway. Source images and paste away. So there they are, nice and secure. So I can close this down for now. And what we're going to do to get started with, I'm using Maya 2013. I'll probably put a link for all you students or anyone in education who've got a student account or email. Use that and you can get your free version of Maya whilst you're on your course, program, school, college, university, wherever you're studying. So yes, we're going to start off by going into polygons. I'm going to use the tab over here if it responds, and there we go. I'm going to click on my plane, and I'm going to hold shift on my keyboard and click and drag to create my first plane. And I am going to make a few minor alterations. I'm going to go over to the poly plane here, and I'm going to click and drag to select both width and height. So now I can just put in 24. Now make it a nice 24. And with these two up here, I'm just going to highlight all the translates and just set it to 0. So we've got 0, 0, 0, 0 and 1, 1, 1 on scale there. Those are 24. Those two are 1. So hopefully you've got the same thing happening here. One thing we are going to do, we're going to rename this layer. So go double click on P plane 1, which is polygon plane 1, and we're going to change this to template front. And what we're also going to do, we're going to create what's called layers. Now with layers, with the item selected, we can make this go invisible. So down here at the bottom you should have your layers, and what I'm going to do is just very simply click on this guy, creates a new layer. I'm going to rename this as template layer, and I'm going to right click on this layer with my plane selected. That's very important, you have to have it selected, and I'm going to add selected objects. So now if I click on the V on this, it turns it off. If I click on that one, it's transparent. Click on the R, that means I cannot select it, and that's back to normal. So that could be really handy when you're working your model and you want to make sections of it disappear. It will make your life a lot easier. Trust me on this one. So what we are going to do, we are going to make this into a nice little texture for us to follow. Now, in order for us to apply our texture to this, to make it our guide, we're going to have to create the hypershade for it. So what we're going to do, we're simply going to open up the hypershade editor. So if you go up to the side here, you notice we've got all these different windows like view, etc. I'm going to switch over and right click. Actually, should we do the display? I'm going to hold spacebar on my keyboard. I click on the scene, hold spacebar. Will this work? Yes, it does. So we want to go on view. Nope, that's not the one. Hot controls, deformers, mesh. No, it's not there. We'll just do it this way. I'm going to right click on this. Nope, normal click. Nope. I'm going to right click here. There we go. Right click on one of these items here. You can also do it from the perspective view. I'm going to do it from the bottom here so it's easier for you to see. And we should have, are we? Yeah, here we go. Perspective plus, where is it? That's hypergraph. Where's my shader? Here we go. You can go on this node editor hyper shader perps, which is perspective. So I'm going to go on that one, and it should change your window momentarily. Yeah, mine's running a bit slow because I'm also recording at the same time. So yes, as it's going to affect my loading time on Maya. Is quite a heavy program. So the real thing we want to concentrate on is up in here. So I'm going to select this window, press space quickly on my keyboard, and that should maximize this, which is ideal. Now what we want to do, we want to select Lambert, double click on it, and I'll bring up this window right here. And what we have to do, we've got to set the transparency on this. So I'm going to click and drag this guy over to about 50%. So yeah, that's about 50% transparency right there. So that's going to be semi-transparent. And keeping this nice and open, we're going to create another Lambert. So we're going to, I'm going to select on this side here, where's the Lambert? There it is. We'll click and drag it in there. So there's my new Lambert. And what we are going to do, we're going to change it from Lambert 2 to template. So templates. So there we go, that's my new shader called template. Have I spelled that right? Yes, no I haven't. No A in there, so that's my mistake. I blame my cold for this. Now what we have to do next, we're going to click, now we've got to assign a texture to our templates here, and the easy way to do this, we can click on color. If I double click on this, you can select different colors. That's not what I want to do. I want to assign the a file as a texture to this, and this is very easy to do. So what you've got to do is click on this checker icon over here, and this will come up. So the next thing we've got to do, we've got to select, sorry, I'm just reading a book here to try and make sure that this is, that I'm following it correctly. So what we've got to do, we've got to select File over here, so make sure it's Maya 2D texture file. There we go, and we can see we've got this attached to it, which is attaching our file. So there we go. So what we want to do is go to Image Name. We're going to click on this folder icon here. And what we need to do, we need to make sure we select our icon. So I'm going to click on this, and now we're doing the checkered. Yeah, this is the one we want because this is going to help us with our guiding system. Well, guiding, and then that's the texture for later. So there we go. I'm going to load this up hopefully, and what I'm going to call this is Grid. So there we go. We've got our template texture right there. So now all we've got to do, we've got our template there. So I'm going to press space on my spacebar very quickly. Let's try it again. And what we're going to do is get rid of this window. We've got 3 tools up here. We've got Show and Hide Attribute Editor, Show or Hide Tool Settings, and Show or Hide Channel Box. I'm going to click on this, bring back my channels again. I'm going to select the panel, and then with Hypershade still open, I'm going to right click, hold it down, or left click, sorry. Oh, yeah, right click. Yeah, getting mugged up. And assign material to selected. And to make sure it's all done, I am simply going to press 6 on my keyboard, and there it is, all done. Very handy. And what we're going to do, we're going to rotate our panel here. So I'm going to press spacebar on here to maximize the plane. And what we're going to do, we're going to select the X, Y. You can either rotate it by clicking on the rotate, or E on your keyboards. Rotate it this way, but I like to keep things nice and neat. I go on rotate here and actually physically type in 90 degrees, and there it is. And all you have to do next is just move it. I'm going to move it by Z. Click on Z and pop in -20. And it's moved nicely over there, which is always a very good thing. And another thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure this lines up nicely here. So I'm going to go and click on my 4 views here. There we go. And I'm going to make sure it lines up on the front view here. So I'm going to select Y translate, and I'm just going to move it up just so it sits nice and pretty on there. So it's about 12 on the Y translate. So there we go. And another thing we're going to do, we're going to very quickly duplicate this. So we're going to keep this selected. You can go to Edit and Duplicate. There it is. Or press Control and D. It does the same thing. So there we've got a duplicate. And what we are going to do, we're going to move this. So we're going to go to Z translate by 20. So it's going to be winding up over there, and we're going to go to X by -20. Actually, I'm going to do Z1 by 0 again, so it lines up there. And what we're going to do with the rotation, we're going to rotate. Oh, it's happy rotating there. Let's try, yeah, the Y. I'm going to rotate it around. Actually, I'm just going to pop in 90 degrees there. So, so there's our scene all set up nice and pretty. So we can actually get started on making the actual models. Now, what some people do, they don't like to have this grid on the bottom. So what we can do, we can either go to Show, and we have, where is it? Somewhere here. Grid, 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 grid. There is grid. We can either untick it or bring it back, or we can click on this icon to turn it on and off. I'm going to leave it off for now because it can get a bit irritating. So what we're going to do, we're going to go switching back to the 4 views. So I'm going to press spacebar on my keyboard. There you go. And the one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to switch all these views to be, I'm going to click on these views and hit 6 on my keyboard and get the textures. Or you can click off and make sure this icon is turned on as well. So that's really going to help. So what we're going to do next, we're going to start creating our elements. So I'm just going to zoom into the front view here and just make sure that that's nice and big there. And what we are going to do now, I have moved this icon a bit to the side. I've done it, where are we here? 7 by 6, 7.6.3.7. Didn't notice that. So yeah. I moved it a smidge just to try and get that side bit for me to get the right width. Anyway, to create this, we could either go to Polygons and select the cube, or we could go and create Polygons, Cube. They both do the same thing, so don't worry if you pick one or the other. So I'm going to click on the front view and just drag a little box here. Let's allow me to click out. There we go, and I can match the width here, and because I moved to the side earlier, it's matching up nicely. So I may have to give these a bit of a tweak. So if I zoom in a bit here, oop, press the wrong button there, it's Alt I want to press, and middle mouse button. There we go, that lines up beautifully, but these side bits, I need to sort those out. So I'm going to rotate my canvas a bit to the side, right click on this layer and select Faces. Click on the side face, get the Move tool, which is over here, and just drag it in a bit. I'm going to do something similar over here. I'm going to get, actually I'm going to press F on my keyboard, just zooms in to my area. I'm going to click the side, and using the side here, just line it up nicely there. Could move the other side. So you notice that this block is transparent. That is mostly because we set our Lambert, the original one, to 50%. So I can move that there. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I'm going to move the top up a bit, so it just all lines up nicely. Now again, notice that was a bit too down that side. That's okay for now. So there we go. And what I'm also going to do is select the face again for the bottom, because the bottom is not far down enough. Press spacebar here and just drag this all the way down. And there we go. We've created the start of our arch. And it's not a bad start. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to have to extrude. So I'm just going to press space again to go back into my 4 views. And just renegotiate. I'm pressing Alt and using my left mouse button to rotate, toggle, zoom in. Once you get used to mine, you'll be doing this without thinking. So I apologize if I keep doing this, it's just automatic for me. So with the face still selected, I'm going to click on the top one, and we're going to do something called extrude. This is a very nice and simple method of creating new faces and pulling them out from your objects. So I'm just going to zoom in to the top in these views here, just using, there we go. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can either go to, make sure you're in the polygons menu, which is, you've got all these different menus here, so make sure you are in polygons. Then go to Edit Mesh, Extrude, or you click on this Extrude button right here, which is in Polygons. It's this one. Now, whenever you extrude something, automatically it starts off by setting the axis to the value of the model. So that's why we've got this, the Z value pointing up, the Y over there, the X over that way. No, I don't want that to happen. I want it to be the world axis with the Y is pointing up, the Z towards me, and, well, the X is in the right place. So I'm going to click on this weird icon, which you can see better in this top view here. Click on that. And you can see that it's gone to the world. So if I go to the side view here, I can click it on and off. But I always find it easier to keep it to these views. Now be very careful. I'm going to select the arrow and drag it up to match the width there. And what we are going to do, we're going to increase the size of it. So I'm going to click on this little box here on the edge. This makes this a scaling tool. And click on the center, and holding down my middle mouse button, I can scale this and try and match as best as I can. There we go. Getting it to that stage. Now what we're going to do, we're going to extrude this even further. So I'm just going to move my front view over here. Just toggle out a bit. There we go. And what we're going to do, we're going to extrude again all the way to the top here. We're going to match the width of it first. So I'm going to hit the extrude button here, as I mentioned before. Make sure it's set to world axis by clicking this icon here. What I'm going to do is zoom in a wee bit, pull it up slightly, and I'm going to hit the scale tool, which is R on your keyboard. With the middle button selected, I'm going to pan in a bit, just so it hits the width about so there. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull this back down a bit. So I'm going to go my W, or press the tool there, click on this, and you can move it manually, or I'm going to press V on my keyboard, and by pressing V you notice this goes in a circle. I'm pressing the V, make sure you don't have caps lock on, it has to be normal V, and I'm just going to use my middle mouse button and drag it, and it snaps automatically to there, so it makes it nice and level, which is absolutely perfect, it's what we want. And what we're going to do, we're going to extrude again, and we're going to go all the way to this happy chappy here. So I'm going to hit the extrude button again, click on the world anchor and pull it up. Just zoom in a bit to make sure I'm quite happy with where it's placed. Yeah, I'm quite happy. Actually, maybe a smidge. That's perfect. And then we're going to do it again, hit extrude, because we still got the selected. Click on the world. I'll pull it all the way to the top. Just going to drag this out a bit. And there we go. So we've created the beginning of our arch. We've got the pillar at the moment. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the side here, and I'm going to select this face. Just pull over here. And what this face will do, we're going to pull it out so we can start creating that arch over there. So I'm going to hit extrude again. Make sure it's set to world. And pull it out. Keep it in line with the world. There you go, quite happy with it there. So there we go, we've got this so far. Now what we've got to do, we've got to place some lines going across as indicated by these red lines. Oops, just click away from there. Oh, go to object mode. So we've got these red lines over here, and we want to be able to just select those and pop them in. So what we need to do, we're going to use a tool called Edge Loop Tool, which can be very handy for this. So going to Edit Mesh, and where are we? Insert Edge Loop Tool. Or you can click on, which icon is it here? Is that it? No, that's not it. Well, it's not in my toolbar here. It might be in yours, hopefully. But I'm going to click and drag either here or here. And I'm just going to pull. It's always best. Here's a handy tip. Whenever you're creating an edge loop tool, start from the line, from the edge here. And just drag down. And you create a nice edge loop. So just place that there. I'm actually going to hit the space bar and go to the front view. Go press W if that's still selected, just move that smidge there. And because the edge loop tool was the last tool I selected other than these, I can click on it down here and it's still there. This is a handy area. It keeps what you selected last just in case you want to use it again. I love this tool. So again, clicking near the edge, I can click and drag. Get my new line in place there, and you just keep going until you have all the edge loops you want. And there we go. So we got our edge loops at the ready. So what we need to do next, we need to maneuver this around so that we get all the lines synced up here. So we're going to use the vertex tool for this and the move tool. So we're going to right click, select the vertex, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of remodeling around with this. So I'm going to start off with clicking and dragging to select the center one, just moving it to the side here. I'm going to select this one as well, just move it over here. And you just keep going until you get the basic shape of this. Go zoom into here. You can actually physically move it around and just get it right nicely in place there. Then you should have something like that happening there. We're probably going to have to add some more edge loops a bit later on to get the correct shape of this. So what I'm going to do is going to move these ones into place here. So click on that one and move it inwards. Zoom in to make sure I've got it right, and holding Alt, moving it in. There you go. Let's move this to the side so I can select this one. Always start from the bottom and work your way up. Then you will never go wrong there. Oop. Now we've got a bit of an issue over here. We've got this little box and all these different edge loops at the moment. Now as I said, we've got a bit of a problem with this, so first of all I'm going to move this vertice upwards about here. Should we move it? No, about here would be perfect. So what we're going to do, we're going to use a tool called the Split Polygon tool to get the extra detail in these sections here. So quite simply, I am just going to go to Edit Mesh, and let's see, Interactive Split Polygon Tool. This is quite a nice tool. You can see it's kind of snapping already to the sides here. So I'm just going to go click onto here, put a tool there, press space on my keyboard, then holding down Alt so I can rotate while still using this interesting key over here, holding, can I do it over here? Not quite the same, so I'm going to have to do it over here. And click, rotate to the other side and snap it to there. And then press enter on my keyboard and I've created a new line. To make sure that these are perfectly in place, I'm going to click, hold the vertice, and on the reverse side layer over here, click on this one, holding down V on my keyboard, I'm going to move it over here. Ooh. Not quite like that. Let's try for front view. Okay, this is coming up, like that. So yeah, it's moving to the side there. So if you come to that problem, press Ctrl Z. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it by this guy, hold V. So it kind of snaps there, and to the side, snaps to there. So it's in the same place, and I'm quite happy with that. So now I'm going to very quickly do this for the others, and then we're going to move them in place. We're actually going to do it quickly with this one, since we got it at the ready. And there you go, you just keep adding more loop tools. Actually, we could just use a nice edge loop tool to finish off these ones. It'll make life so much easier. So I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Insert Edge Loop Tool, click on the line here. As you see, we've got this happening again. Just going to keep going. Oop. Nope, the edge loop tool is not the way to go. I'm going to have to use the interactive one. So, where are we? Interactive split tool. Though you can always make these a lot neater later. No, I didn't want that, so I'm just going to press Z. I'm going to press Enter on my keyboard and Control Z that. That was a big mistake there. If you do make a mistake, do not worry, you can always try again. That was no mistake there. You will make a few mistakes along the way, do not be worried. Okay, this one's really being annoying, so I'm going to try from a different angle. I'm going to do it from the bottom here. There we go, I'm taking a bit more control of this time. Maybe just starting from a different angle really works wonders, so just making sure those snap together, press enter, and now we could do a bit of tidying up.